Hello. Welcome back. Thank you for tuning in to the Rhythmic Resonance Podcast. This is your host, TR, and this week I sat down with Tylo Smith. Jordan is a local artist from Great Falls, Montana, and is definitely one of my personal favorite artists I've heard from around the state. With genre-bending raps and smooth singing vocals, Jordan's multifaceted sound catches so many niches that really set him apart from just the regular artist. Growing up, Jordan found himself listening to a range of different music, such as Ludacris and Tim McGraw, to later finding J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar. Tylo's influences have always been, and still continue to be, present, even in his music to this day. Something I appreciate about Jordan is his kindness and authenticity as a human, as well as his humility and perspective on artistry, as he navigates every day working towards his goals. And I'm very excited to hear what he has coming out in the future days. But before I say too much, here's Tylo Smith on the Rhythmic Resonance Podcast, episode number 14 at Area 41 Collective. So, where are you from?
So I grew up in Great Falls, and that actually is what I know. I heard that. That is actually what connects me to this whole thing here. But I was born in Las Vegas.
Okay.
So I moved up here to Montana when I was really young, and then I think I was about 1 or 2 years old. Spent most of my time in Great Falls and a little bit of time in Bozeman after high school. So
Sure. That's awesome. Awesome. What's been your favorite place so far?
I would honestly say, as much as I never lived here, Missoula. I feel like, I grew up with parents who are Bobcat fans, so they would have absolutely despised if I ever wanted to move here.
Yeah, for sure.
But I would say Missoula, just because I like the overall vibe. I feel like it matches my energy, and I always feel like I just feel at home here. Yeah. And it's still Montana, so yeah.
It's just like a good community,
I agree.
Good people. There's lots to do. There's always just something to do, Missoula's just dope.
Yeah, and I feel like it's like one of the most accepting places of creativity and art. I feel like, there's everything kind of has, every city in Montana kind of has its own identity. Yeah. But I feel like Missoula is definitely one of the most creative towns in Montana.
Totally.
So,
yeah. No, that's for sure. It's just the community mindset here is super, super solid.
I agree.
Yeah.
You don't get something like this in Great Falls.
No.
I feel like you really don't. So not to say that Great Falls is the worst place in the world, but I feel like you're not getting the type of community that you do here.
Yeah.
So
yeah. For sure. So growing up, what were you into? Take me through a day in the life of Jordan.
I would say, so growing up, I was really kind of into anything, man.
Sure.
Everyone in my family, I feel like would describe me as very energetic, I was always on some shit. So, I would really like to bike with my homies. We had a hill right behind my first house that I ever lived in here. Well, technically my second. When I first moved here, I lived on the base. There's not a lot to do on the military base here for a kid. So,
no, I don't doubt it.
But yeah, shortly after kindergarten started, I ended up moving to the Riverview, Sacagawea, Skyline area of Great Falls. And so, hill right behind our house. And there was a grass hill right across the street. So sledding in the winter, biking in the summer. I had both of the biggest hills, two of the biggest hills in town right next to my house.
Right on your doorstep.
Right on the doorstep. So
for sure.
That's kind of, I really liked being outside, but I was also a gamer.
Okay.
I wasn't really on the first person shooter wave.
Okay.
I like the old school games.
Like what?
I would say So I really like Nintendo. So, or I say Game Boy, GameCube.
Yeah.
So Smash Bros. Classic GameCube days.
Classic.
But I mean, I know for me, like, the Wii was huge. Like, I feel like I thought that was the craziest, dopest thing ever when I was young.
Yeah.
The Mario Kart, the Super Mario Bros. Like, they remastered that shit. They brought all the Marios back. So
yeah.
I would say I was more on the Nintendo and like that type of wave for gaming. I didn't really have anything else till I was older. So
Sure.
yeah, when I was inside, I was on the Wii. But outside, I was an outdoor kid for sure when I was younger.
Yeah. Just crushing it, like boxing mat and
boxing,
stuff.
Bro, yes, boxing, man. We fit with the tightrope.
Yo.
Are you kidding me, dog? Like, that was literally, yes.
For sure.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. I feel that though. Like, there's just like those things. I don't know. You latch onto, and even like when you're not outside, like when it's kind of hot or something, you're just hanging out inside and chilling, kicking it.
Yeah, I feel like then it was. I definitely feel like I was inside listening to music a lot.
Okay.
For my summers, I would spend summers back in Las Vegas, so there wasn't really a lot for a kid to do outside in 110-degree weather.
Definitely not.
So, like, when my dad's at work, I just remember I was always listening to music, or that's where I played a lot of the GameCube.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was really when I was indoors the most, is when summers were too hot to go outside. So.
Yeah. What were you like listening to early on? Like what did you kind of latch on to in those times?
So I would say really early on, like, what was really going in my ears, I would say Justin Timberlake and Timbaland, specifically, like when they would do
that
collaborations together, that duo, anything that they did. Ludacris.
Okay.
Ludacris was definitely someone that, like, I feel like shaped a lot of my music.
Really?
Or like, I feel like who I want to be, just because I feel like there's not a cadence that man couldn't find. So unmatched. So I just always feel like that was like Ludacris, Usher, Justin Timberlake. Like a lot of those were constantly in my ear. But I mean, coming from Montana, you constantly have the country singers too. So
always.
You got Brad Paisley, you got all the
Tim McGraw.
Yep, that's exactly what I was thinking. Tim McGraw. My mom was a mad Tim McGraw fan, so I always had Tim McGraw going, man. So you had a little bit of both, a good mix of everything, and then I feel like we grew up around a time where there was a lot of one-hit wonders.
Yes.
So like I feel like there was a lot of different sounds kind of shaping what was going on in my head at that time. So
for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, like even like the introduction of more electronic music and kind of that like 2010 like earlier 2000 era where like a lot of that dance music was coming out, a lot of that like R&B, you know, Usher, that kind of stuff, like just it's on the rise, and you're seeing different people pop up, Mike Posner, like just a bunch of different people, but like those ones just they hit,
Damn, I feel bad for Mike Posner. We don't have to get into that.
No,
but I'm yes. No, definitely though. I feel like everybody around that time, like especially when I was 12 in 2011, I was 11 in 2010. So I feel like right around that time is where like a lot of you're like finding music. Like I had my iPod, so I remember I got my first iPod around that age, and I remember I was like, dude, this is gonna sound crazy, but dude, I didn't know who J. Cole was till I was literally like 13 or 14, but I just didn't have access to
I feel it, bro.
Downloadable music. So, but I just remember one of the first things I did was I bought, what's the Drake album with him as a baby with the afro? Worst Behavior, Hold On, We're Going Home. Was it Nothing Was the Same?
Nothing Was the Same, like 2013,
I was like,
14?
I feel like around that was like one of the first hip hop albums that I feel like I just remember listening to Worst Behavior, and I was like, damn,
worse,
bro, like worse every time that would come on, dude. So
for sure,
I feel like that's really kind of what shaped me as like I kind of got into high school. I was getting more into the mainstream type of hip hop, so like Kendrick, J. Cole, everything there. You always got to start with there, and then you find your own own niches, right?
Yes,
yeah,
totally.
So yeah, but that's what I was kind of doing with. That's where I feel like I really latched on. But I would say something else that brought me into music and gave me that at a young age was my grandparents had a band that did gigs throughout Montana.
Oh, okay.
So, Yeah, started out as the jukebox band, and then as I got older, my uncle, so their son, kind of took it over. Very talented drummer. Shout out Drum God.
Okay, Drum God.
So he kind of took it over, and jukebox band became the Wurlitzer, and because that's like a jukebox, the Wurlitzer. So, yeah. So I just remember being as a Montana kid, like in the bars as late as I possibly could to hear as much as I could of the music. There was this one bar in Great Falls. It was called the OP.
Okay.
And there was definitely a lot of times where I was in there later than I probably should have been, as young as I was. But I just wanted to be around the music. And I mean, I feel like that's definitely something that shaped me as far as watching performances and knowing how to like show up and work a crowd, even if it's a small Montana crowd. So I feel like,
just that whole scene of like just music, like live music, and performing it.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's really, because I mean, you could have it in your ears. Right. Like, I feel like you and I know that the most being performers is you could have that in your ears, and like a lot of people, general population, like they have it in their ears, but then you, like when you do it live or you experience it live, dude, it's different.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. There's like a way of expression that just is more direct and like intimate,
Exactly.
Yeah. And it's just a different feeling that you get, like when you're making music and when you're releasing it. It's like there's no face, there's no emotion. I mean, there is, but like there's not that in front of you connection. And then the live music is like you see these people playing instruments or like being in front of you rapping or whatever.
You can
singing.
see the passion.
Yeah,
like,
and that's the connection.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, seriously. Like, I feel like, it's like college football or any college sport versus the professionals, right? Like, you could see the passion in college because they're playing for the check. So it's like, I feel like a lot of us independents were playing for that check. So I feel like it's like you could really see our passion. I mean, especially versus some of the people who you could go see who are on an A-list scale. But I just feel like, seriously, that passion, that intimacy is honestly built like in person more than just through releasing music to a DSP. So
no, totally. Because there's just like, oh, that's just some random dude that I just found on Spotify the other day, versus like, oh, this is someone I can like physically interact with, and with like conversation even like afterwards. And there's just that level of intensity and emotion and passion that kind of comes with those interactions when you're able to watch that and be a part of that experience.
Yeah, man, intimate. That's such a good word to describe it, because I feel like it is. Like, every time I feel like people have, I'm sure you can probably attest to this, seen me perform in person, there's always that feeling that they have, but it's different than when you just drop a song, right? There's a feeling that they have where just like, I'm proud of you, like it was so cool to see you do your thing tonight, but when you're dropping a song, they're not going to be the first person. Not that that's a bad thing, but I almost feel like that's what makes the live performances so important, is that's how you build those connections with people who are going to be your lifelong fans and rock with you forever. So
totally. No, 100%. You nailed that. Like that's really what it is. Like, and that's the cool part about performing, is you get to like do it for the people who support you, and they're a part of your experience as well, and you're a part of theirs. So it's a cool trade-off and exchange.
I love it. And I feel like there's always room on the train, man. Like, I feel like, rock with me, like, let's take this fucking thing let's take it to the top. So I feel like, I definitely feel like that speaks to also camaraderie and how important that is. And, but I'm sure we'll get to that.
Yes,
So.
yes, totally.
Yeah.
So you found that you like were drawn to these live performances, just being a part of that experience. What kind of drew you to start creating your own music?
So that's actually crazy, because right around the time that, like, taking you back to around middle school days, I was in a choir, and
same.
So everybody had to do the performing arts, the choir or the band or whatever. So I played the saxophone 5th and 6th grade. That wasn't really a thing that I loved.
For sure.
I always loved singing. I feel like I always would try to do my best. And there's kids, in kindergarten, elementary school that aren't going to sing. They're going to stand up there on the risers and just be like, the whole
stare
time,
you down.
Yeah. So seriously, but I feel like that, like, and then transitioning to middle school, going through that choir. I was actually going to go into theater in high school.
Okay.
And then I made the last minute change to my schedule to do choir. And so I got into like an all freshman men's choir, which is
cool.
Same. It's cool, but it's the same type of vibes as like some of the times you're in 5th and 6th grade and everybody's on the stage. They don't really want to be there. So they mean mugging for sure. But like, I felt like I always took it more serious than other people. So the following year, I ended up getting into an honor choir that year, and there was very few sophomores that made this honor choir. So I was like, I feel like that's when I really knew. I was like, okay, like I could potentially do this shit. Like so that was when I really feel like. Sorry, could you repeat the question?
Just like what drew you to creating your own music?
Yes, okay, perfect. Yes, we're on the right wave.
We are.
Okay,
yes,
okay, cool.
Totally.
No, I just wanted to make sure I wasn't losing it too far off a tangent.
It's all good. It's all good.
So choir sophomore year, and then I ended up being in 2 choirs the following years in my junior, senior year. Never got an open 7th period, so I couldn't leave early because I have to take one of the. I mean, bro, but you sacrifices you make necessary.
Yes.
So that was really it, and then that was of course not the hip hop music I make today, but when I was in culinary arts, I actually ended up meeting one of the first people who I ever started making music with, and him and I just kind of were playing around with some ideas one day, and then classic, got the iPod, the Beats headphones, and the GarageBand, everything like that. But I feel like that was when I really was like, okay, like this is cool. Like I feel like I have the roots, like as far as being around it a lot when I was younger. I feel like I've been told by other people, like, okay, you have a good voice or whatever. So I'm like, I might as well try to do something. So I mean, with what I could, of course, that was like the early stages. Still can't even find my first song, but yeah, the GarageBand. That's what really led me to GarageBand, and that was really what I started making a lot of my early music on. So, yeah,
for sure. Well, I mean, and I know, and I'm kind of like fanboying out a little bit, but like I think the first time I heard you were under the name Kid Wavy.
Yes.
And I think it was like 2019. I want to say when I heard that.
Yeah.
And I don't think you had made the shift. Maybe you had to Tylo, but
no, it was Kid Wavy. That's so crazy.
Yeah, and like my favorite one is like you're driving with like the blue sunglasses, like the reflective lenses, and like the white car, and it's like kind of snowing out. And I think that was like the first track I heard by you. But like around what time was that? Like in your.
That was right on. That was 2019. So you were right on. That's crazy because, dude, I feel like that's one of those things your brain it just shoves that to the back. So, but Kid Wavy. So that's actually what the dude I started off with. We were in a little group called Day and J, whatever it was. But then I went on to do just my own solo work, which was under that Kid Wavy. And then, I did a couple projects there. I hosted a couple of shows in Great Falls. So did that thing, and then right around that 2019 time where you first heard me with Blue Lens, that was when I feel like I was actually living with a couple of the guys who produced that, and that was when I feel like I started taking it a lot more serious.
For sure.
So I was like, okay, we need to be creating as much as possible in this house while we have this opportunity.
Lock it in.
Get locked in. So. Yeah, that was right around that 2019 time with Kid Wavy, and then I feel like the Tylo Smith transition came probably later that year.
Okay.
I would say. Let me think about this. Okay, so graduate high school in 17. Blue Lens, I would say like that's late 2018 because it was snowing. Yeah, okay, and then 2019 was where I feel like I transitioned towards the end of there to Tylo Smith, and I started putting out. In fact, I know so because I moved to Arizona in 2019. So that was when I transitioned to it, and I was like, okay, I put out a couple of my first singles under Tylo Smith. But so that's kind of like, I guess, my arc as far as transitioning from, I had the duo, and then I had Kid Wavy, but Kid Wavy just seemed a little too juvenile.
For sure.
So I was like,
just young kid,
just a young buck, and I feel like that was like a good amount of my rapping style, like back in that day, like when I had first started. And so when I got more serious with the Blue Lens stuff that you heard, it just didn't really match. So that's why I made the decision to change that. And not that Tylo Smith is the greatest name in the world.
Well,
but
I was gonna ask, like, where does that kind of come from?
Where does that originate from?
Yeah.
So I actually have the most basic name in the world, Jordan Tyler Smith.
Okay.
So, damn, my mom's gonna hate that I said that, but that's okay. That's she wanted me to call it. She wanted to call me JT, but that never materialized.
Sure.
So,
Sure.
but yeah, so that's essentially where that came from. As my middle name was Tyler, but then if I'm over here as Tyler Smith, that sounds like a country artist, right? I'm like, that sounds like I'm coming out with country folk, which might not be a bad transition.
You might hit a good demographic.
Yeah,
you know?
I'm like, yeah. So that's really where that came from. Then I was just like, man, I just got to get some music out under a different name. So I was just like, Tylo Smith, whatever. So that's one thing I wish I could change was the $sign.
Oh.
So
tell me about it.
So Alexa, she don't play my songs unless you say Tylo $myth and then say the song name. So you can't like that. So that hinders a lot of my ability to get looked up, search, things like that. But a lot of people don't remember Travis Scott had the $sign before he changed.
No.
So I was like, yeah, so
that's true.
I'm like, I just got to get to the point where I'm famous enough, right? To the point where Spotify will let you. Like, have you ever tried to change your name on a DSP?
Yeah,
bro.
I had to like basically get rid of my entire account and then just make a new account and then just re-upload all of the music with the same IRSCs and just like it was a pain. It was so bad.
Absolute pain. So I was like, I had already done that once with Kid Wavy to Tylo Smith. So I was like, to do it one more time, I'm just like, shit.
This is
I better just make good music, and hopefully that speaks for itself, 100%. Right? Like,
yes.
I mean, I just always think like there's people who have crazy ass names, but it's like they didn't become household until they did, right? Yeah. So, I mean, everybody thinks I should just drop the Smith and just be Tylo. So maybe that's in the future, you know?
Sure.
So, but yeah, that's kind of how I got into everything and found a studio down in Phoenix. Okay. And then really started making music out of there with one of the first engineers that I was working with. I swear we were in there freaking every weekend, man. Like, I feel like I really tried to go for broke when I first moved there. And, so released some music there. And that's kind of where music had brought me after I kind of found what I wanted to do with it. So, yeah.
And like, what drew you to Phoenix specifically?
So at the time, Coulter was actually there. So I was Coulter was there, but that wasn't also the only reason. So I actually visited one of my lifelong friends there. And he was planning on moving out. So he was like, just move down to Arizona, come move in with me, you know, that classic shtick. So I was like, okay, like you think you're just like, all right, yeah, whatever. And it never materializes. But then I was like, okay, I was managing a Verizon at that time. So I was like, okay, I'm going to sell the shit out of some Samsungs for the next couple of months here, try to build up the commission checks and then get on the road so I can at least try to make something happen. Cause I knew Great Falls wasn't the place where I could make it happen. I felt like I had hit a ceiling there.
Sure.
So, I moved down there with him and then ended up linking up with Coulter a few times. And I would say Phoenix mainly because it wasn't as expensive as like a New York or an LA. And I feel like not a lot of people have really blown up from there.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Sure. I mean, I feel like I know why now that I'm there, so I feel like that was really why I chose it. I was like, I want to go to a place where there's not a genre that's established, right? Like you think West Coast hip hop, you think, you know, oh my God, like you think of fucking Cali style
immediately.
Yeah, so I'm just like, and then you think of like New York, you got drill, you got a couple different subcultures over there. So totally. I feel like I wanted to move to a place where it was just a free for all.
Yeah.
And like, because that's where I kind of feel like my music is and always will be, is that I'm like, dude, I want to sing on you 1 minute, but then I also want to give you the craziest beat you've ever heard the next. Totally. So I feel like that's kind of a place where I've been allowed to explore all my sounds.
Sure. And not feel like constraint to one specific sound or style. Because like that is hard with artistry, is like being able to flow through those different sounds, especially if you're like versatile, like you have a singing voice, you have the ability to do the rap stuff, and it's just like figuring out how to make those mesh. And then like there's just those expectations in some areas where it's like, this is what you do, and if you do anything else, you are goofy and whack, and that's
we're not gonna like you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But like that's cool though, finding a place that like you felt like you wanted to pursue, or that you could pursue, like what you wanted to do.
Yeah. And I feel like that's really what drew me there. I mean, and I feel like it hasn't changed. I mean, there's still so many genres there. I mean, there's not really one sound that I would say describes Phoenix or Arizona as like a hip hop. I feel like Montana's the same way.
Totally.
I mean, if you ask, like before a lot of this, it was you ask Montana hip hop and everybody's like, what, who? Yeah. There's hip hop here?
Right.
Like, so.
Yeah. And I mean, it's still kind of like that, but like just trying to build that like established structure, you know, in a way where it's like there's more resources, obviously, in like an area like Phoenix, would you say?
Oh, yeah.
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 Like,
what much more resources. Like, I feel like that was something that I'm really grateful for, is that I was able to get into a studio as early as I was into living there, and I was able to make some good connections there. And I feel like that's something that I'm really grateful for, is that there's those resources, and there is more people that are willing to help you than a lot of people think.
Sure.
Like, you just have to be able to grind. Like, you have to be undeniable. I always like to say that. Like, you have to truthfully be undeniable. You have to get it so people are just like, shit, I've heard about you 3 or 4 times from 3 or 4 different people. Like, so it's just like, you have, whether that's showing face or popping out to a freestyle event where they're doing just like a one take or something. I feel like I struggle with that.
Sure.
But so
you just kind of have to like be your own best promoter.
You have to be your own best promoter,
especially in a big city like that, where it's like there's hundreds of thousands of, or just a lot. There's a ton of people, you know?
Yeah.
And like you're kind of in this market where you have to figure out a way to stand out, and like you have to go and put yourself in those rooms. You can't just like sit back and wait for your song to like blow up out of your bedroom, you know?
Exactly.
It's like you have to be proactive in like investing in your career and your artistry in like different ways,
and making it happen, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like I go through waves a lot of the
we
times.
all do.
Like,
totally.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that you say that. We all do, because I feel like sometimes I'm always wondering. I'm just like, damn, like I went so hard on content, or I went so hard on writing, or I did something so hard, like went so hard on it for 48 to 70, the last 48 to 72, but then for the next 48 to 72, I'm not doing nothing. So I'm just like, I feel like, am I maximizing my opportunity with that? Am I also maximizing how many people, like we said earlier, might hear about me? That's one avenue, right? Like, oh, I scrolling through TikTok one day, and although they might not follow you, they might not like your shit, but they're still like, oh, okay, like that's one avenue, right?
Totally.
That's one tick off the box, and it's like, okay, next time they see you, oh, you're performing at this open mic, like, oh, that's why am I seeing this guy? Like, I need to see why I'm seeing this guy.
Yeah.
Like, so I feel like that's something that I'm definitely grateful that Phoenix has. Is a way to create a lot of those avenues to be seen.
Yeah.
There is always the pay to play aspect, which happens here too, but I actually think, though, sometimes people underestimate that even a little bit. Like, the power of it. Like, I'm the first to, I hate the pay to play stuff, but then I'm also the first to go and spend $100 at the dispensary. Or if I want to go out to a nice dinner or something like that, like, why can I do that, but I can't pay to get seen? I can't pay for another avenue. Right. You know what I mean?
For
and
sure.
not that I'm like, there's definitely some stuff that is a scam.
Oh yeah, or like it's like there's no return.
There's no
for
return
you.
on your investment.
You're doing more for the other person than they're like doing for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a fine line between like an investment and, I mean, a scam, clearly.
Totally.
But so I feel like, that's something that I feel like is kind of almost slept on in a little bit of a way.
Sure.
Like, so I feel like
it's kind of taboo in a way too.
As long as you have that line, as long as there is something like, okay, like we have done this, there's got to be some type of line.
Yeah,
and
you
I
have
feel
to
like,
have discernment in those like situations, and even just like you don't want to put yourself in a bad position,
Yes.
you know?
Yeah, I mean, don't break yourself as an artist for sure, but if you find yourself spending more on the small luxuries, but then you're still the type of person who's like, shit, like I can't get into the studio for this amount, or studios are too expensive, or all this and that. It's
maybe
like
flip some things.
flip some priorities around
Yes.
and things like that, and then you might be a little bit happier with where you're at in your artistry. So I feel like that's one thing that people don't understand, is that this shit does cost money.
Yeah.
And so you cannot be spending your money on stupid shit.
Right.
Like, so,
right. Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
Unless you have a way to profit off that other stupid shit too.
Right. Or like you're just like still able to live comfortably while doing both of those things, you know? Cuz like as we were kind of talking like right before, it's like we have to be human too a little bit, you know?
You have to have your own projects.
Can't be like completely like all the way an artist, even though like that's what a lot of us, as you said, we want to do, but like you just kind of have to be human too and enjoy like the parts of life that normal people do as well. Yeah.
No, I definitely agree with that.
And that resonated with me. So I'm glad you said that. So what would you kind of say has changed in your artistry from like when you started till now?
So I would say that's a really good question.
Like confidence, I mean, obviously as time comes, but just like the way you think about things, even like your process, the way that you go about creating, like if anything has changed.
I would definitely say process. Like I would say kind of going from having ready access to like the home studio, not that it was the greatest setup ever.
Sure.
But I feel like going from that to having an engineer that actually, you know, like the engineer I have now, she's great. So I feel like having someone where you can be on that same page with, like, it makes the process much easier. It's not something where where I was doing when I was releasing music at first, you know, I have to do all of the mixing as best as I could without having a freaking audio engineering degree. I had nothing, right? Like I'm 18 years old. I'm fresh out of high school. So I'm like, I just got this free software. I'm like, I don't even know what the hell to do.
Yeah.
So, I feel like that's the biggest change is my process. Like I know that if I book a 2 to 3 hour studio session, I know that I could go in there and touch 5 or 6 songs as long as I'm rehearsed. You know, like I would say that's another big thing, is that rehearsing before recording is something that you have to do that.
Sure.
Like if you are, especially if you're on a time crunch, budget, whatever, like as an independent artist, like even if you have all the time in the world, like practicing by yourself to make mistakes and find new pockets, find new sounds. Like I tell people all the time, like if I'm writing, like I'm like, they hear some shit, they're just like, what's going on? I'm like, bro, I'm just playing with some different like flows. I'm playing with some different ways to say some words. Like I'm trying to do something where I can, once I get into the studio, I'm like, okay, I already have 3 different ways that I could approach this.
Yeah, and you're not wasting time, you know, that you're paying for.
Yep, exactly that.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so, like, you can maximize budget that way. You can maximize time. You could do everything by just doing a little bit more by yourself. Like, even if you don't have a home setup, you know, just, like, get the beat, rehearse.
Yeah.
Go to the studio, and it's going to sound a lot better. You're going to be able to find the vocal cadence and the tone that you want it to be, rather than just, okay, I wrote this, I haven't really rehearsed it, but now I got to go into the studio and spend 30 minutes finding the pockets, finding
cold
this.
turkey.
Yep, turkey.
Yeah.
Yep. So I feel like that's something that's changed a lot, is my process. And I would say also my ear overall. Like, I mean, that's something that gets better with us all, but I feel like some of the mixes that I was dropping in my music back in the day, I'm like, oh my God, when I was just mixing it myself, I'm like, dude, I got to get this shit off.
Totally.
So I feel like that's another thing, is that like, I feel like I can hear a lot better if something is like, oh, people aren't going to like that, or that's going to clash, or something like that. So process, and I would say just like some technical things, I feel like is what I found myself evolved most from. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, and that kind of just, it comes with time as you like continue to do it year after year, and like the consistency rises, you know, you're just like, it's just keeping the muscle building, you know, as you go with those technical aspects of the artistry.
Exactly that. Yeah. No, just like you were just so like, muscle. Like it clicked, bro. Because I was like, yeah, I feel like it is just like that. Like you're just constantly building different strengths. I mean, it's like your GTA character, right? You spend a lot of time in the plane, you get more points on the flying. You spend a lot of time shooting, you get more points on the shooting. It's like the more time you spend in an individual area of expertise, like the better you're gonna get. It's like, I mean, it's anything, right? Basketball, free throws, dribbling, whatever. So I feel like definitely like strengthening that muscle is super important, but then also working it out every now and again, because repetition builds muscle, right?
Yep.
Like I've taken a lot of breaks, I feel like, from even just releasing, but I've never taken a break from writing.
Which is
like,
awesome.
Yeah. So I feel like that's something that I would also encourage. Never take a break from writing, even if you're not releasing.
Because it hits when you've taken a break from writing, you know? Like just not even keeping up with that, like that pen and keeping your pen game strong. Like you can tell when you're not like doing it consistently and you're like, what is this, bro?
Well, right. Well, even there's times I'll go back to some of the stuff that I was writing when I was at that one of those lulls where I wasn't releasing a lot, and I'm like, you could tell the confidence wasn't there. You could tell like whatever I was going through in that moment, it just wasn't there. But I mean, the more you kind of get back into it, the more you start doing it, you're like, okay, like that's not the greatest one, but then you flip to that next beat and it's like, oh, I already got 4 flows that are going through here. Yeah. So I mean, yeah.
Yeah. For sure. No, I feel, we're just like, it's just artist talk, you know?
Yeah.
Like that's just what it is. Like that's it's a big part of it. It's a lot of work, but like it pays off when you put the hours in.
It does.
And,
for sure. Yeah. Seriously, like I feel like the more time I put into everything, like even content or trying to think of new ways to approach like a release or something like that, I feel like there's always something that I'm just like, okay, like I want to try something new. So
yeah, switch it up, see what clicks, see what hits.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, man. Yeah. So are you working on anything like currently? Like, is there anything that you've got like
like
in the bank, that you're like, or I mean, you don't have to be like super specific about it, but like, is there just, are you working currently on like lots of different things, or are you like focused in on something? Because I know you just released like the Honor Chords project, couple singles, you know, here and there. So is it just like, are you continuing that, just kind of releasing whenever, or do you have your eyes like set on something specific?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, because I actually feel like there's 3 main things that I kind of want to do before I end 2025. Yeah. So I feel like I really want to do a lot of feature work. So I just want to I want to work with a lot of people. I want to play with different sounds, you know, see what we could do together. So I feel like that's like number 1 on my list. And then kind of tied in at number 2, but also ties with that is Bree.
Yeah, she's dope.
She's amazing.
Super dope.
She's dope.
Yeah.
So shout out Bree. Of course.
Shout out Bree. 100%.
But she's dope. So we're actually considering doing an EP together.
Fire.
So something where we're actually like we met with kind of the team, like the engineers that are going to be on it, a couple of people who are producing. So we met with them before I actually came here, and we kind of planned out and mapped out something for fall. Roughly. Okay. So right when I get back here in a couple weeks, we're actually going to start writing sessions for that. Sweet. And then we'll have recording sessions. So we're really excited. I feel like all of our chemistry, just even in that meeting, was super good. So that's kind of second on, but also tied in with first, because collaboration.
Sure. Yeah, you're still working.
Right.
Yeah.
But then I also have I've been just really playing with like a lot of stuff lately, and I kind of have just this project that is just like a fuck you project, basically.
Okay.
So like, I don't really know when that's gonna see the light of day, but I feel like every time it's gonna be, I'm gonna say exclusively produced by this one of my friends who's produced a lot of my music. So
awesome.
every time I send him something, he's like, dude, I just got the stank face. Right? He's like, bro, you're in your villain era. Like, so I'm like that. Like, I'm like, dude, I feel like there's something there or brewing there. Just with some of the flows I'm playing with, and just with some of the different things he's experimenting with the beats.
Sure.
So yeah, I feel like those are the 3 main things that I'm really trying to focus on to close out the year.
Awesome.
And then I feel like 2026 really, I'll have to see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, we're not finished with this year yet,
right?
so we kind of gotta like
lock in.
Yeah,
lock
totally.
in and finish out. Don't count your chickens before they hatch, right?
100%.
What do they always say? Don't waste your life away.
Yeah.
That was what I was looking for. Yeah.
Hearing that like when I'm 10 years old, they're like, no,
don't waste your life away.
Just enjoy the moments while you're young and you have zero responsibility as a person, and then just wait. It'll get a whole lot worse.
Yeah. Oh, bro. If I could tell myself at 18 when I'm just like, man, like this sucks, like. Of course, because we all think that we should be popping, right? And we all think that. If you don't think that as an artist, then you shouldn't be an artist, right?
100%.
Like, so I'm like, man, this sucks, man. Like, why is none of my stuff blowing up? But then I'm like, I wish I could tell myself, kid, wait till you have debt and bills and problems and responsibilities and you got to go fucking see a doctor and she's telling you can't fucking eat steak because you eat too much red meat. I'm like, wait till she fucking tells you, kid.
Yeah.
Like, so I'm like,
for sure.
That's like, if I could go back and tell my 18-year-old self, like, man, just put the pen on the paper.
Yeah.
Like
right now, rap like the rents due.
Rap like the rents do because it's going to be due.
Yeah.
So,
for sure.
Yeah, bro. Seriously.
And I think that's something like I think I appreciate even like seeing your like that you're super into like the Legos and everything is that like you're still like you still have that kid in you at heart, you know, and that's like a really important thing to like carry on into as in your adult life is finding those things that you can still like really love and get into and just immerse yourself in like you have a city, bro. Like you have a city of Legos,
dude.
And I'm like, every time I see it, I'm like, damn, I'm super jealous right now. That looks so sick,
bro. Well, I could never do that as a kid. I mean, I just feel like I want to do all the things that I couldn't do as a kid because there's a lot of stuff that I didn't get to experience when I was younger.
Sure.
One parent household, like my mom would grind at work, like especially throughout summertime when I'm home by myself. Like, so it's like a lot of entertain yourself type of things. And I love my mom. Like she grinded for me and everything like that. But there's just the reality of the situation is that like there was a lot of times where I feel like I was like there wasn't a lot that I was doing that I feel like I had joy with. Like, so I feel like I had fun. That's not to say that my childhood wasn't fun, but I'm sitting here thinking like I'm doing all the things now that I'm like I wish I had back in the day. Like,
and that's beautiful.
Like, right, like through the summertime, if I would have been at home like with my Lego City, man, working that thing out, like I would have been all over it. So I'm like, now that I have free time, I'm like, I got to try to do as much as possible with it. So I bought a PS2 recently. I've been going back through all the Need for Speeds, bro. All the Need for Speeds good. I could never beat, bro. Like when I was a kid, I feel like I was just pissed off one day. I was like, man, I never beat Need for Speed Underground. So I was like, I need a PS2 so I can beat that shit.
That's so fire. That's so fire.
I'm like just trying to conquer all the shit that pissed me off as a kid.
Yeah. That's dope though. Yeah. That's super cool. Like, I mean, as funny as it is, like that's dope.
Yeah. I feel like so. Yeah, it's good to have that. I feel like that connects me to my child, but so does music, man. Like I feel like I was actually just visiting with one of my uncles who was in jukebox band in Wurlitzer, I believe. My uncle Hal, and I was just visiting with him about the All That I Need song with Bree.
Yeah,
and he was just like, he was watching him grow up playing music. He could play any music. He could play any instrument ever. Like he's so talented. So I'm like, I idolized a lot of those guys that were in my family's band. And so I feel like he pulled me aside the other day and he was like, man, like that type of stuff, like that All That I Need one, that song it's so good, man. That's your best work. Thank you.
Yeah.
And
whenever
like,
you hear that, you're
bro,
like,
and I was like, damn, man, like this is the type of person who like I idolize. So like I did feel like a kid in that moment where I was just like, damn, okay, like he likes something that I did. I've always loved what you guys have done, but like it's so cool to get that love back. I feel like
that reciprocation.
Right?
Totally.
But I feel like music alongside, Lego, PlayStation, everything else, I feel like that connects me back to when I was a kid. I mean, take it back to even being summers with my dad when he's at work, like I'm freaking I got my headphones in and I'm acting like I got a fucking concert going in the living room. I'm running back and forth like I'm on stage and shit like that. I feel like I think about that even now when I do perform. I'm like, bro, this is the shit that you were doing when you were
you just
you know,
it didn't click
it didn't
yet.
click, right?
Yeah.
It didn't click
Right.
until I started making my own stuff, and I was like, dude, like I could make this happen. So yeah.
Dude,
I feel
that's
like,
so awesome.
Yeah. Crazy.
And just like one other thing I want to touch on before we get to like kind of the closing final thoughts.
Absolutely.
So talk about LOTN a little bit.
Okay.
Because I know it's a couple years ago, but in fashion, like how did you kind of get into, being a part of that, and just talk a little bit about your experience with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. So I would say starting with involvement. So when I lived in Bozeman, after I did 1 year there in college, I was making music. That was when I was under Kid Wavy.
Okay.
So Coulter filmed a couple of my videos then, and like he was one of those people that I would say like was very encouraging when I was like definitely getting started in my artistry. So I feel like that was really how I kind of got involved with him, stayed involved with him. Of course, we did some stuff in Phoenix like we talked about, but then he had started I don't remember when exactly he started telling me about this concept, but he just always started talking about it. Like, let's do something where like we just do something with Montana artists. We make something happen essentially. And to see it culminate over the years, like as we haven't seen each other a lot, maybe twice a year over the past 5 years. So I feel like every time he's giving me a little update, and then when it actually came, it was like, dude, that's crazy. Like, and then I mean, seeing it all come to fruition and being there and being in that energy, I feel like the only thing that I regret is not being there for the first night, because I feel like that's everybody's like, dude, the first night it was insane. Like
crazy.
Everybody was bouncing from room to room, and so I was like, but I mean, regardless, like I just feel like being in that area where you could create, relax, enjoy being in nature. Like I don't get a lot of nature in Arizona, so
For sure.
I feel like the environment was good. But yeah, I mean, I feel like it speaks to how different and how unique Montana music is, because there's people that will try to do that in Arizona, and it doesn't materialize as it should, or there's always a good amount of ego involved. But I feel like being there was something that like it's a feeling that like I've never experienced. I'm sure you feel that being here like every day, like ever since they've kind of really established themselves here. So I feel like I just feel like it's just such a unique feeling being a part of it, and it's surreal, I would say, that I feel like I heard about it like for so long, and like I just like when he made it happen, and man, when he gave the speech there, I was like, man, I'm gonna cry for you, bro. Like I was like, because I feel like it was like I love seeing greatness. Like I love that's one thing, like if you know me, like I love seeing just greatness, and I feel like he's great. We're all great in our own regard, so I feel like I just love watching greatness perform like on any scale. So I feel like that's what I like about LOTN, is that it's just greatness, unique, like a couple of words to describe it. So
for sure.
No,
That's awesome. I was super hyped when I saw that you were a part of that, because I was like, dude, getting like everybody, like as many as we can assembled on this team, like fucking like Avengers type
literally
shit,
dude. Yes bro. So I feel like and the team, like that's what I love about it, is that like there's in every team, every someone has different strengths, right? Everybody has different strengths, but everybody holds each other accountable. That's what makes a good team. But everybody plays to their strengths and lets people fill in for their weaknesses. I feel like that was something that I also feel like I heard a lot from the project, is like people didn't try to make it their own in any regard. They like played to their strengths a lot, but then also the things that they did experiment with were crazy. Like of course I think Clay Row, I think a couple of the songs like Graveyard, Shampoo, like I think of the more experimental stuff, and people kind of finding their own sound and finding things like that. Like I feel like it's so cool to watch. But totally. No, and I will say, I think I've texted you about this before, but
I keep it 100, bro. Hands down, my favorite hook, bro. I love that.
Thank you,
it hits the spot every time, and like that song is so fucking dope. I love
Thank
it.
you.
Yeah,
no, I feel like I think I heard that on the second or third day when I was working with Bert, and he played it with just Renault's verse, and I was like, dude, we got to get this thing out after. I was like,
so good.
No, I appreciate that because that's probably my favorite thing I did that whole entire weekend I was there. So
yeah, no, you killed it, dude.
Thank you.
Killed
Thank
it,
you, brother.
So some final thoughts. Is there any advice that you would in your later years of your artistry, and it doesn't even have to be directed towards artists or anything, but just just advice that you would give in life, in artistry as a musician and a performing artist, and those sorts of things, like it's just things that you feel led to share in this moment, if you have anything to kind of be open about.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Well, honestly, I would just say, let it fly. Like, I would just like there's a lot of things that I didn't do, not that I don't regret not doing, if that makes sense.
It does.
But
yes.
I was like,
yes.
So like, yeah, but there's a lot of things that I didn't release, or a lot of avenues that I didn't try, but I would say take advantage of every opportunity. Like any time that you have something that, especially like those people that are willing to do the things for you, like perfect example, my new engineer, she's always calls me, she's like, hey, there's this thing going on, I'm coming to pick you up. Fire. So I'm like, don't take advantage of those moments, or take advantage of those moments,
right.
and get make sure that you don't leave anything on the table. Like, I feel like that's something that any even business owner or big businessman, anybody who's made it anywhere, like, don't leave anything on the table. Like, try everything, release everything. Like, don't throw shit at the wall to see what sticks. But I mean, apply technique, do things methodically. Like, I feel like, but if you're gonna do something, even if you are trying something new, man, try it to the fullest extent, because are you really even trying something new if you're not doing 100. It? Yeah. So sure. I feel like that's one thing, is take advantage of every opportunity that you are afforded, and just let it fly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome, man. Yeah. That's awesome. Thank you.
Of course. No, thank you. This has been awesome.
Yeah,
man.
dude. I appreciate you like coming through, just kind of on the fly and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's super cool to just be able to talk to you after years and years of like listening to your music and different stuff like that, and then just kind of being able to put it with a face and a person. So I do appreciate it, man. Thanks a lot.